Welcome to Film on Tape, a free audio library for creatives in film and television. My name is Misha Calvert, and I've worked as an actor, writer, director, and producer for many decades. I had so many questions when I was first getting started in New York, and I just wanted fast, free answers. That is what this library is for. The work that you do as a creative is so important. I really hope that this library is going to help get your work out there. Film on Tape is sponsored by Vermilion, a coaching and educational company for creatives. You can learn more at clubvermilion.com. I've been on a journey the past 3 years as I discover the difference between seeking devotion and seeking validation. This has been a transformational occurrence that has really changed the way I approach art and to a certain degree the way I approach life and all of my relationships. I'm going to take you through a comparison of devotion versus validation. And because you're an artist, I'm really hoping that it's going to resonate for you. So I'm going to reveal some truths about myself as an artist and as a person that are kind of vulnerable, but I'm hoping that it will help to illustrate the differences between devotion and validation and how you can become more devoted to your art and basically more fulfilled, like have a better experience as an artist. Let's start with the definition of devotion. Devotion means love, loyalty, or enthusiasm. So when you think of your career as an artist, do you feel love? Do you feel loyalty? Do you feel enthusiasm? Maybe the answer is yes. But if the answer is no to even one of those things, what do you feel instead? The gap between love, loyalty, and enthusiasm in your art, I believe, is the exact size and shape of your absent devotion. I talk to a lot of actors. I talk to actors every day of my life. And I email with hundreds of them every month. And I have dozens of them who are a part of Vermilion. Now, my Vermilion people, this doesn't apply to you, of course. But I can tell you that in the thousands of conversations that I've had with actors, most actors are not devoted to acting. They think that they are, but they're actually devoted to something else. We'll get back to that. It's hard being an actor, and the rejection really wears you down. And a lot of actors have been grinding for so long, chasing validation, that their devotion isn't even really in the mix anymore. It used to be a beautiful flowering garden. But now the flowers have dried. They've dried up, and they're turning to dust on the floor. I find it so sad when someone's devotion to the creative process that we have so naturally as children, when it's been replaced by seeking validation, because it's actually hard for them to coexist. Seeking validation and being devoted to your art, I think they're actually very different things, and it's hard for them to occupy the same space. 40 hours a week when you're devoted to your creative mission and your expression as an artist, it feels like inspiration, confidence, joy, excitement, power. 40 hours a week when you're seeking validation feels heavy, boring, exhausting, sad, and full of despair. So I think of it like validation is the hot, well-dressed, abusive partner who teaches you that you're never going to be anyone or anything without them. They're very sexy, they're very loud, and they're pretty unkind. Whereas devotion is the loving spiritual master in a robe and sandals who teaches you that you have all you need right now. They're not very sexy, and they're kind of quiet. I would invite you to break up with validation. Go up into the mountains and spend some time with devotion. And see if you don't feel a whole lot better about your career as an artist on the other side. All right, get your pen and paper. I'd like you to make a list of everything that you don't like about the acting business, or whatever industry that you are an artist in. Could be the film industry, could be visual arts, could be dance, could be music, whatever. Just make a list about what you don't like about it. Is there a way that you can still create work and not have to engage with the things that you don't like that are on this list? Okay, now make a list of everything you love about the art that you're pursuing. And ask yourself, is there a way to increase and amplify these elements that you love as you create the work? Is it possible to shift your view of the acting business or whatever art form to see the business side as a creative act? Have you considered that how you run your business is just another opportunity to express yourself as an artist? And let me give you some concrete examples. Marketing. Marketing. I don't want to do marketing. Well, what if it is an arts and craft project? What if you can do photo collages for your marketing? What if you only market through the written word and you love writing? What if you only market through taking pictures and you love taking pictures? What if you only market through word of mouth and you make it your pilgrimage to have 5 new meetings a week? And that is your marketing. It's with face-to-face marketing, which is, by the way, one of the most effective forms of marketing is word of mouth or face-to-face. So you get to do marketing on your terms, and you get to run your business on your terms. Every company that I've started has been a creative act. And the advertising and the marketing and the product and the service, they have all been very creative. And is it as creative as like being in the middle of a movie set and, telling the actors how to play a scene? Well, no, but even most directors usually aren't spending most of their days on set. There's a whole lot of other stuff that has to happen before you get on set. So I think just starting to look for ways that the everything else can be creative, it's just going to make it a lot more fun. So give it a try. Now, I do want to talk about anger for a second, because if you consider breaking up with validation, like you're just no longer going to chase validation, is there any anger around the people and places that have denied you validation? When you think about the schools that you didn't get into, when you think about the auditions that you didn't get, when you think about the job that you had and that suddenly, because someone changed their mind or put in a bad word, you don't have that job anymore, the offer that was extended and then unextended, are you angry now? Have you considered, instead of trying to be not angry, just saying F you to the industry? I am so excited to tell you that I'm launching a brand new slate of classes that are incredibly helpful on my website. Some of the classes include on-camera acting technique and how to self-produce your own film, actor self-care, which is something that nobody talks about, and how to write a feature film in 10 days, which I'm going to teach you how I did it and how you can do it too. And believe me when I say I poured my heart into these courses. Go to clubvermillion.com. I am so excited about this website. I can't wait to work with you. What would it look like to say F you to the industry? And I'm speaking specifically to artists right now, although that could apply to a lot of industries. If you consider making work in spite of being rejected by all these people that you looked up to, how does that feel? You make the work no matter what. You make the work in spite of them saying no and not seeing you and not caring. How does that feel? Because there's probably some real freedom in embracing the anger and letting it be a fire that lights you up and blasts you off into action. If being angry is what it takes for you to finally make the work that you love and approve of, then be angry. Let that be the motivator. Because I don't care what it takes. I want you to get to a place where you know your voice, you know your heart, and you are unafraid to share that with the world, knowing that it's not about how much you sell. It's not about how many fans you pick up. It's not about who likes you more. It's not a popularity contest. That's boring. It's about how unique and strange and specific can this artist be? And in order to do that, you're going to be disliked. You're going to be rejected because most people are playing the popularity game and you're playing the authenticity game. So it's okay to be pissed off that they're playing a different game that is much stupider than yours. I give you full permission to be angry about that. All right, so here's some questions. What would it look like if you released all expectation of results for your work? How would you spend your day? If you didn't care about succeeding, quote unquote, how would you spend your week? What projects would you work on? Who would you collaborate with or talk with? And what would you do together? What would bring you the most joy? What is it that validation has been promising you? What about that is important to you? Can you give it to yourself? That thing that validation has been promising, acceptance, credibility, security, worthiness. If you were able to give those things to yourself, would that decrease your need for validation? Okay, here's the biggest question of all. How can you create a practice of devotion to yourself and to your creative process so that you never need anything from validation ever again? This started looking like, for me, because I was writing a bunch of films and I realized I was writing them for other people. I was writing them for some phantom audience thinking, well, what are they going to find good? How do I make a good movie? How do I be good enough and make a good movie so that other people think it's good? And that was just terrible. It was a terrible way to go about it. And I slowly, this was inner work, this was therapy, this was somatic movement, this was a lot of stuff. I slowly started to value my own emotional experience. It's so wild to say that out loud because the emotional experience of an artist is the crux of their art. It's the whole thing. Step one, becoming aware of your own emotional experience. That's step one of making art. And step two is transmuting that emotional experience into another medium. So as a filmmaker, that usually starts with transmuting it into a literary form. So I'll take my emotional experience, I'll understand it, I'll get really intimate with it, and then I'll turn it into a written form of that same emotional experience, aka an outline or a screenplay, or even a diary entry. And then the next form of that after the screenplay is a visual form. My emotional experience is on the screen in a visual form with pictures. And then the music is also another form, another layer of my emotional experience. And the press campaign, that's another layer of my emotional experience being expressed. So with whatever art form you have, give yourself the attention. Let your emotional experience be the most important thing in the room, because if you're not letting your experience be the most important thing in the room, sure as hell no one else is. No one else is going to care if you don't care. If you don't let yourself be big, no one else will let yourself be big. So please, please try on this practice of devotion to yourself and devotion to your own experience, and see if you can really chase that and create a sacred space for it if the need for validation doesn't just slowly fade away. Because I can tell you, having lived on both sides, the majority of my life chasing validation, it's not pleasant. It's not relaxing. And it's not really fun. Being at peace and just knowing that my work is the work, and I'm devoted to that. That feels better than almost anything else. I've really, really enjoyed this topic, and I hope that this conversation was valuable to you in some way. All right, guys, thank you so much, and I will see you next week. Thank you so much for listening to Film on Tape. If you like the way that I approach the industry, check out our other classes, consulting, and mentorship at clubvermilion.com. Vermilion is a home for artists and those looking to expand creatively. Whether you're an actor, a film professional, an entrepreneur, or a CEO, we'll help you find your voice and hone your skills to thrive in any market at any scale. You can schedule a free phone consultation at clubvermilion.com.